Come on, be honest with yourself. At some point in our lives, we all wanted to be a superhero.
That's not me, by the way. That's some Armenian guy with a history of mental health problems.
Firstly, Matt wanted to ask what happened with Superman, because he was really excited about that coming out and then it seemed to just not come off the ground.
It just, for every project that comes out in Hollywood, you know, they talk to 100 guys, you know, and like James Bond always goes through loads of different directors, and Superman, Batman, all these things. They have conversations with people, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And I'm actually not that interested in doing other people's characters. Yeah. Like, the only stuff I'm really interested in, stuff I really loved when I was wee. And I've been offered weird things. I've been offered some pretty cool films, and I always turned it down. But Superman was the one I always loved so much as a kid. And I tried to get it myself unsuccessfully about 4 years ago. And then about 2 years ago, Matthew Vaughn and I talked to them about it, and Matthew's the guy who directed Kick-Ass. And they were more interested in him than me, you know. I mean, he had a big track record at that point. He'd done all the Guy Ritchie movies plus his own stuff. And they had a conversation with him about it, you know, and he said, you know, would you be interested in coming in with me on Superman? I was like, yeah, of course, you know, and he went in and talked about some of the ideas we've been talking about, but at the time I think nobody was really that keen on doing a Superman movie. The last one had lost 200 million because they have to make back twice what they cost, you know, because half the money goes to the distribution. And it was a bit toxic at the time, you know, and then they just lost interest in us, you know. Talked to some other people, like the Wachowskis were in there, and a few other people were talking to them. I think one of the, what's his face, the guy who's the Wachowskis' right-hand man, James McTeague, they tried him as well, didn't work out with him. And now David Goyer and Chris Nolan have got it, which is brilliant. I mean, Goyer's a mate of mine, and I mean, as a fan, I'd just love to see a brilliant Superman film, and I think Goyer's the guy. You know, the Batman films have been brilliant, so I hope they can carry that same magic over.
So what can you tell us about Wanted 2?
Well, it's funny actually, the news got announced this morning that Angelina's not doing Wanted 2. I don't know if you've seen it. This morning, you know, she and Timur had been talking for a little while, but it was quite a tricky one to have Angelina involved because she died at the end of the first film. And you have to think, like, Wanted originally was a $75 million movie. They expected to make about 150. I saw the projections and that's what people were talking. And it made 341, then did good business on DVD. So they were like, a sequel, you know, we shouldn't have killed Angelina. And they were trying to find some way to bring her back in the sequel. And there is a route to doing it because you had the healing baths in the first film. You can, you know, bring back the really badly injured. So, but I don't know, I mean, it seemed a bit of a cop-out in all the drafts of the scripts. People weren't 100% keen on, you know. They just thought, you know, she was the biggest thing in the movie, although she wasn't intentionally the star of the film. She became the star because she was great in it. I don't know, they'll just have to get another draft of the script done that doesn't have Angelina in it. If she's not doing it, it means we can move on. And there was talk of shooting early summer, the last I heard, with a view to bringing a movie towards the end of next year. I haven't spoken to Universal yet today, so I'm not sure, but, you know, these things happen.
What the fuck?
What the fuck you looking at? Two cheap shit losers screwing with a car that someone probably worked their ass off to pay for. I gotta tell you, that hurt.
When you were at Comic-Con, you swore that you wouldn't let anyone edit it as it was. Has it been changed at all?
Not one word, you know. I mean, we've got the C word in there, and I remember actually thinking, we're never getting away with this, you know. I remember being on set and seeing the kids saying it and everything and thinking, this is going to get cut out. And it was amazing. Vaughn said, no, trust me, we'll keep it there. And we stuck to our guns. You know, there was different people we could have gone with in the bidding war. Some people offered us more money and things, but they wanted a final edit on it. But we absolutely wanted the final edit on the movie. We didn't want anybody messing with anything because we knew what we liked about it and we knew what they would be scared of, you know. But you've just got to stick to your guns, you know. Like, if the money will come if you do something that you're happy with and other people are going to like. If you go out there and try and make something more commercial, I mean, some people say to us, look, we could actually edit this and make it a PG-13 and we could cut out just a few scenes and we could get it, you know, for a wider audience, you could make another $100 million. And you're like, yeah, people could have said that about 300 too. We could cut out the violence and all that, you know. But then it wouldn't have been the product. It wouldn't have been the project you wanted. So we said no. You know.
Sorry, well, you're finding a distributor for Kick-Ass. What's your role being?
Really, as a producer on the film as well as co-creating it with John Romita Jr. our role has been to kind of get the movie from the page into the cinemas, you know, and it's been a daily process. It's weird, there's been hurdles at every stage. Like, I mean, the first hurdle we encountered is becoming quite famous now, which was that when we put the screenplay together, we thought we had something great, and every studio thought it was the worst thing they'd ever seen. And not just bad, like they thought this was terrible, because they said, look, everything that makes a superhero movie work is missing from this screenplay. And we were like, yeah, but that's what's good about it, it's the next stage, you know? And they were like, no, we hate it, it's rubbish. And I remember one company in particular wrote 3 pages of notes, and everything that's good about the movie was their complaints. Like, Hit Girl, they said it's horrible to have a 10-year-old girl doing this, make her 25 and then it might be palatable. Cut out the bad language, cut out the violence, and just make it a bland studio picture. And I think most people would have been quite deterred by that, but Vaughan is quite ballsy, you know, and Vaughan was like, well, I'll just go make it myself. And he borrowed money off friends, he borrowed $45 million off his friends, had a big dinner party and asked everybody for some cash. And he's lucky he knows a lot of rich guys, and just made the movie independently. So that was our first hurdle. Then at every stage, you know, we were looking at actors, and that was so hard as well. To find Hit Girl and to find Kick-Ass himself was a massive challenge. And Vaughan almost put the movie back by 6 months because we just couldn't find a Kick-Ass. We looked for 3 months trying to find someone. Comic-Con is the mecca, you know, for people like us. So we took the movie there and showed 15 minutes of it in little clips. And I've just never seen a hall that frenzied before. It was kind of like a rock concert. And it's weird because I can understand people being like that for Spider-Man or Batman or something they've had a long association with. But Kick-Ass is a pretty new property, and I think at that point there'd only been 6 issues of the comic out, maybe 7 issues. So you just think, there isn't a hardcore following the way you would with someone from your childhood or whatever, but people just went nuts. So Vaughan and I were like, thank God, you know? And then word via Twitter, Facebook, everything got back to Hollywood, and by the time we took it to LA, a frenzied bidding war was going on, which is brilliant. And we've yet to hear of somebody walking out of it not liking it. Like, the test screenings were so good that Vaughan actually didn't want to tell people the results because he was worried it would look fake, because it was getting like 94% definitely recommends, and even a Bond movie only gets like 60% or something. And it's weird because my new project Nemesis, there's been a lot of directors coming forward to try and buy it before it comes out.
That was my next question, was about Nemesis. So can you tell us a bit about the comic itself?
The basic idea of it is a reversal of a superhero comic. It's a supervillain comic, and it's kind of what if you know, the world's smartest, richest man who wore a costume and was this kind of cool billionaire guy by day, put on a costume at night time, was actually a bad guy instead of a good guy. So you've got the cops versus this guy who's like all the trappings of a superhero, where it's an amazing car, planes, gadgets and all this kind of thing, but he's like an anarchist and he's out to destroy Washington DC, and he travels around the world taking on the best cops that he can find internationally, and he spends 4 weeks destroying their city and then finally executing the cop at midnight, exactly the same time every one he goes to, and he comes to Washington DC and takes on America's best cop. So have you ever thought that you might want to get into filmmaking directly? Well, I'm going to direct a film this summer. You know, yeah, I'm going to direct a thing in Scotland, mostly in Glasgow, but it'll be all around Scotland. And I'm going to use young filmmakers as assistants. I'm going to use an entirely unknown cast, all under 25, and it's independently financed. But it's going to be a superhero movie, and it's not going to be a comedy. It's going to be a really, really dark, straight superhero film with a big epic scale. It's not going to be some daft wee British movie kind of thing. I had a wee sort of notion after seeing District 9. I just thought it's quite interesting to juxtapose something, you know, like a sci-fi thing, you know, with something that's not associated with sci-fi, like South Africa. And I thought, wouldn't it be good to do the same thing with superheroes as well? We associate them so much with America, to the point where I don't think there's really any major ones set outside America. With something very low-key like Scotland, you know, something that people associate with the past, or whiskey, or, you know, maybe train spotting as the most contemporary thing you would associate with Scotland. So to do something in contemporary Scotland, but with a superhero template, I think it'd make it quite unique in the same way that District 9 was too. So that was my plan. I suddenly thought, that'd be cool. Plus I'm lazy, I don't like to travel, so I can just get out of bed and shoot it here and then go back to bed.